as we might have heard from Ms. Lawrence's amazing speech on Friday, the Missouri Compromise of 1850. So basically, in the Missouri Compromise of 1850, exactly this argument was brought out into action. So basically, the Congress decided not to obey a federal law because it was slavery obviously had a major impact on the people. So they decided to do this and make the Missouri Compromise of 1850, which basically split the country into two and said that the states above this line were all free states and the states below it were all slave states. So this is an example of state interests over the federal interest. But as you can see, in this example, the state's interests were not the best of the people's interests because this was more focused on short-term gain rather than long-term gain. For the Missouri Compromise, many people call the Missouri Compromise a postponement of the solution of slavery in this country. And almost because of this compromise, and almost because of this postponement of solving the issue, the problem continued to increase and get worse until, at last, it had to be solved during the Civil War, when countrymen, people of similar blood, same brethren, had to fight together against each other. So, and as Thomas Jefferson said to John Holmes, he said that the Missouri Compromise was a line that was going to eventually cause the destruction of the country because they were not listening to the Constitution. They were creating this temporary solution that wasn't actually going to solve it, and it was obviously going to bring bloodshed in the future. And as he predicted, it did.
So at this point, it's an issue mainly of state power versus federal power, because I'm not going to say that Congress does not have the power to make laws that concern laws that it's already made. So then it boils down to is the simple issue of state power versus federal power. So I'd like to point out that specifically in Ableman versus Booth, this was a case where Booth violated the Fugitive Slave Act, but the state court of Wisconsin, I believe it was, declared that he did not have to, that he was justified in disobeying that act, and that he did not have to, that he was not to be sentenced, and that the slave was not, and that the slave was not to be returned. The slave was passed over into Canada, but that's kind of irrelevant. In this case, the idea is, okay, it's like the state court is a high court, but the federal court is a higher court. The power of judicial review is unique to the Supreme Court. It is not a power vested in the state courts. Specifically, checks and balances is at the federal level and not the state level. So if you're going to say that we as states can sort of just overturn whatever the federal government says, then that sort of that federal government ceases to be a federal government and then becomes basically the government of the Articles of Confederation, where they can say whatever they want, but no one has to listen.
And then on to our third point. Last point would be, our third point would be government shutdown that's going on in America right now. So the federal law passed the healthcare. Then there were 13 Republican states that refused this healthcare. States such as Texas, Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, Virginia, Missouri, Wisconsin, Alabama, South Carolina, Louisiana, Oklahoma, Mississippi, and Kansas. So without these Republican state support, the American government could not put this health care into action. So then the American government ended up with this shutdown because no budget was decided. And then this shutdown, this American government shutdown, can affect the world's economy. Tens of thousands of government workers were asked to leave with no compensation. And then also national parks were shut down, which meant no tourists and no tourists would mean no money. So American economy would go down. Federal workers, top paid, and that's about it.
Time.